Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. It has definitely been a long time since we talked to everyone, but we did want to come tonight, joined by the family of Tyrone Davis Jr., to have a conversation about how things have changed and progressed and just address some things that need to be addressed. So we want to welcome everyone to the chat. Um, and before we get started, I do want to thank the family for joining us and being willing to participate in this conversation. I want to acknowledge before we begin that grief looks different for everyone, and I recognize that each of them may be carrying this loss in their own way. I want this to be a safe, respectful, and judgment free space where everyone feels comfortable speaking honestly about their experience, their emotions, and their perspective. There is absolutely no pressure to answer every question. Please only share what you feel comfortable with sharing. If there is something you would rather not discuss, that is completely okay. The purpose of this conversation is not to accuse, attack, or create division. It is simply to continue honoring Tyrone's life, discuss where things currently stand regarding the investigation, and allow the family an opportunity to share their thoughts and experiences in their own words. While there may not be many public updates right now, that does not mean that things have stopped. We are actively reviewing available information and waiting on additional evidence and records from GPD. I also want to be mindful that public conversations surrounding this case have sometimes become emotional and difficult for the family. So today we want to focus on respect, transparency, healing, and understanding while keeping Tyrone and his memory at the center of the conversation. Before we get started, I want to make sure we include the following interview notice and disclaimer. This conversation is intended to provide family members with an opportunity to share personal experiences, reflections, emotions, and perspectives regarding grief, public attention, and impact of loss. Discussion topics are intended for awareness and family centered conversations only. Statements made during the interview reflect personal opinions, experiences, and feelings of the speaker and are not presented as legal conclusions, factual determinations, or accusations against any individual or organization. Participants may decline to answer any question and may pause or stop the interview at any time. I also want to remind everyone participating tonight to please avoid directly naming any person who may allegedly be involved, mentioning content creators, channels, or social media pages by name, using any profanity, or making any accusations or speculation. Tonight is about respect, honesty, healing, and keeping Tyrone's memory at the center of this conversation. Before we begin, I'd love for everyone to briefly introduce themselves, share how you are related to Tyrone, and tell us a little bit about your relationship with him and what he meant to you personally. And we will begin with Natalie. Thank you for joining us, Natalie.
No problem. Many people know that Tyrone is my cousin, first cousin. His dad and my mom are siblings. Um, and um, my relationship with him was more like siblings. So we're cousins, but we're more like siblings just because we were raised together, spent a lot of time together. Grew up together, raised our kids together. I gave his daughter her first hair wash, like so really, really close. And one thing that I think people should know about him, just as a person, is that he always put others before himself. And he prioritized family over everything, especially when it came to his children. So I think it's important for the world to know that he's a human, that he's a person, and that those are things that were important to him. He had real values, real morals, and was a real stand-up person overall.
Thank you, Natalie. I have a little talker back in the background. Next, we're gonna invite Miss the Tyrone's children's mother to the stage.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alicia, and I am the mother of Tyrone's two children. Um, to describe how his passing has affected me, I'm still pretty numb to the whole situation. It's just like I'm living in a nightmare that I just can't wake up from. So I really don't have a lot to say about it. It still just feels unreal.
Well, we thank you for joining us, Alicia. And we are definitely sorry for your loss. We're sorry for the loss of this family. Um, and lastly, we are going to invite Miss Erica onto stage.
Yes, I'm Erica, the maternal cousin of Tyrone Davis. Our relationship, we were very close. Natalie described him very well. He was a stand-up guy, always put others before himself. He stood on nothing but love. He was just one of one for sure. It's nothing that he would not have done for anyone in this world that was very close to him. He was so amazing. He, you know, words really just can't describe who he was as a person. Like, he is a human. He deserves, respectable justice, and he has a, family that loves him dearly. And this is very hard for all of us. And, you know, we love him just as much as he loved us. So that's why we're here today.
Thank you so much, Erica. If you could just repeat one more time what your relationship is. Your phone was like really, really low at the beginning of you talking.
I am the maternal cousin of Tyrone Davis.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. And then we are going to bring MG up on the stage. MG is a part of the What Didn't Add Up team. We definitely don't want to leave her out.
Hey, everyone, greetings. This is MG, the timeline review and investigation. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm sorry, thank you, Ava. I apologize. Greetings to Tyrone family. Um, welcome. Yes, we are back. We are back. Any celebrations, any shout outs and stuff, please put it in the chat. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. And please be respectful in the chat. Back to you, Ava.
All right. So before we get started, because there are some people who will be joining us for the first time, and we want to kind of and we haven't been on for a really long time, not because we've stopped working, but because we have been working diligently on taking care of things behind the scene, making sure that we're up to date on all of the everything that's happening. We want to just catch everybody up so everybody's on the same page before we get started. Um, and I'm going to start with what our team, excuse me, I'm going to start with what our team has come up with as far as a theory is concerned. Um, I want to start there um, so we can kind of get an idea of where in the direction that we're going to go from that. So give me just a second while I pull up a few things. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Anybody on the panel?
No
No, not
questions.
right now.
Alrighty, y'all. Give me just a few seconds. Here we go. All right. So before we move into tonight's discussion, I want to briefly address some changes within our team and the structure of work we're doing moving forward. As our team has continued to evolve, so has the structure of our team and the way we approach these reviews. Moving forward, our team is intentionally smaller, more focused, and organized around a structured medical case review model designed to help families better understand complex cases through documentation review, timeline reconstruction, surveillance analysis, and evidence organization. The team now consists of myself. I will do medical review and case analysis, which is focused on reviewing medical documents, injury patterns, autopsy findings, clinical evidence, and identifying areas where the medical evidence and investigative narrative may not fully align. If y'all can give me 1 second. I'm sorry. MG will do timeline review and investigative analysis focused on reconstructing timelines, reviewing surveillance and movement sequences, comparing witness statements, and identifying inconsistencies or gaps within the documented chain of events. Together, our role is not to replace investigators, attorneys, law enforcement, or medical examiners. Our purpose is simply to organize the available information, identify unanswered questions, and present the evidence in a structured, compassionate, and fact based way for families and supporters to try to understand better what may have happened. So, a case synopsis and our theory overview. At this point in the case, we want to be transparent about where the team stands, how we arrived at our initial theory, and what evidence led us here. After reviewing witness statements, medical records, EMS reports, scene photos, and timeline evidence, the team was able to piece together a general sequence of events leading up to Tyrone's death. Based on the evidence reviewed so far, excuse me, the team believes, sorry, the team believes that Tyrone was dropped off at the hotel after leaving the cabins. Surveillance reportedly confirms that Tyrone was alive, alert, walking normally, and functioning appropriately when he arrived at the hotel. A few hours later, surveillance reportedly shows him leaving the hotel with his girlfriend and traveling to Papa John's. Additional surveillance from Papa John's reportedly shows Tyrone again appearing normal, walking without difficulty, interacting normally, and leaving without any obvious signs of serious injury or distress. From there, things happen rapidly within minutes, less than 10 minutes. Sometime between leaving Papa John's and the vehicle making a U-turn near the I-75 exchange, something happened inside or around that vehicle that resulted in Tyrone suffering a catastrophic head injury. We know from the girlfriend's own account that there was an argument inside the vehicle. We also know Tyrone exited the vehicle at some point. However, one of the major concerns identified during review is that the descriptions of how he exited the vehicle have varied over time. Different versions have included claims that he jumped from the vehicle while it was moving, he rolled out of the vehicle, or he got out of the vehicle while it may have been stopped. Those differences matter because each version will likely produce different injuries and different scene evidence. What the team keeps coming back to, however, is how rapidly Tyrone declined. Within only a matter of minutes, Tyrone went from appearing completely normal on surveillance footage to being found in the roadway in critical condition. Witness photos and scene observation reportedly showed signs of severe neurological distress almost immediately, including abnormal body posturing and involuntary urination, which are commonly associated with devastating brain injury. By the time paramedics arrived just minutes later, Tyrone's Glasgow Coma Scale which is a medical tool used to measure responsiveness and brain function, was reportedly 4. The highest you can get is a 15 and the lowest is a 3, meaning he was already in extremely critical condition before he ever arrived at the hospital. The team also believes portions of the official explanation do not fully align with the physical evidence reviewed so far. Based on scene photos, witness observations, and available records, there did not appear to be a level of widespread injury, torn clothing, road rash, or extensive trauma people often associate with a violent high-speed roadway ejection or jump from a moving vehicle. Witnesses also described Tyrone's clothing as relatively clean, with the most significant visible injury appearing concentrated to the back of the head. Because of those factors, the team currently believes it is possible that primary injury may have occurred before Tyrone fully exited the vehicle. I'm sorry. Let me add. Okay. Sorry. Based on the evidence reviewed so far, the team believes it is plausible that something happened inside the vehicle, potentially from some form of blunt impact to the head, which triggered the rapid neurological decline that followed. However, we do not know exactly what happened, what object may or may not have been involved, or the precise sequence of events that caused the injury. To be very clear, this is not a final conclusion and it is not an accusation. This is simply the team's current interpretation of the evidence available at this stage of the review. What we can say with confidence is this: Tyrone appeared normal just before the incident. Within an extremely short window of time, he suffered a catastrophic injury that caused rapid neurological collapse and ultimately led to his demise. And the biggest unanswered question remains: what exactly happened during those final moments inside or around that vehicle? So, with that, we are going to look at a few things that we reviewed in the past. MG is going to go over the map of the area in which the incident took place. I'm going to review the different scenarios that have been told in regards to jumping out of the car versus falling versus being hit. I'm going to review all of those things, and then we're going to talk about the injuries. And then we're going to go into the interview of the family. MG, you can go ahead and present if you like.
Oh, Ava, can you present your information first, then I will present mine.
Sure. Give me just a second to pull everything up. Okay. I have to pull mine up, MG. So if you wanna give me just a few minutes to pull everything up.
Okay. All righty. I saw. Oh, we ready?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give a little bit of insight. We did start over just so we can catch everybody up, but I did want to address as far as my background is concerned, I want MG to also address her background so we can give just a little bit more insight as to who we are and where we're coming from. So again, I'm Ava. I am a registered nurse. I am master prepared and I am a doctoral candidate. Currently, I am working in trauma setting. I have worked for the last 16 years with trauma, neuro, cardiac, and pulmonary patients. I also have history working with the coroner's office and working with the coroner to complete autopsies. While I am not an expert, I do have 16 years of history and experience working with critically ill patients. So, seeing this case, I have worked with lots of patients who have seizures, anoxic brain injuries. So it was on task for me to identify that something more critical was going on when I saw the pictures of the case, of the scene, when I saw Tyrone. So from that, I'll let MG go ahead and discuss her background.
All righty. Going to give a brief information on my background. In my field, I do data and research and documentation. So that's why I became a timeline specialist because I'm more of a visual person and I have to read every situation, every document, and provide information. So that's a little bit background on my field. I do research, data, and reports and documentation. So, yes, that's what I'm going to present.
Thank you, MG. I'm still trying to get all my documents pulled up. I thought you would go first, so give me just a second. Uh,
Oh, no, I had it. It just somehow it knocked me out. But I can, let's see if it's going to allow me to bring the maps up.
Mhm.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna present the map to the family. And this is the map that's dealing with the hotel and the Papa John's and the three misturns. All right, so let me know if y'all can see my PowerPoint on the screen. Wait, are you able to see my
No,
PowerPoint?
mm-mm.
Okay, it's saying it's sharing.
I don't see it, but give me a second. I might have to add you up to the screen. There we go.
Okay. All righty, so I'm gonna make this a little
Now we can see.
bigger. You can
Yeah.
see it now? Okay, perfect. All right, so this right here is a visual timeline of the event. So I'm just going to start from the hotel and work my way from the Papa John's, and then I'm gonna work. I'm going to actually visually show y'all the misturns that was made before the incident. Okay. All right, so the first one that you see is if y'all can see my mouse. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, so here we go, a little bit bigger. All right, so what you're going to see, if y'all see my mouse moving, it's going to be moving always to the top where you see like a red circle, and that is the hotel Fairfield, and that's where it started from, where they left out. It looked like they made a right turn to come all the way down, and over here you have to make a right turn to get to the Papa John's. Now, if you're familiar with the area, you were able to see different areas that you can go to Papa John's, but it's probably like the easier route to get to. So we here at Papa John's, and once you leave out Papa John's, you have to make a right. You can't make a left because you have to make a right to make a U-turn to get back to the hotel. Okay. All right, T. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. So they are leaving Papa John's. They went and made a right turn. They went up to the left lane to make the left turn, make that U-turn, come all the way down. Now, when you make that U-turn, you have to be on the left lane because the next traffic light will be the left turn to get to the hotel. So this will be the first turn, but it was a missed turn. So the colors. All right, so the color, I'll break it down to the colors. So the purple color you see is the arrow where the hotel is at. The purple one is going towards Papa John. So this black circle you see right in the middle is where the left turn to get to the hotel. Okay. All right, so now you're going to see the orange line. And when you see the orange line, this is another turn to get to make a U-turn, okay? So if she so they missed the left turn here, they went straight ahead. And here's another intersect where it's a traffic light. You can make a U-turn to get back to the hotel, but that turn was missed. So if you made a left turn, you were able to go down here and make your way back to the hotel. But that turn was missed, and you see the Circle K that's right here. So it was a picture. The second picture showed that it was misturned to the hotel. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions or concern. All right, here we go. So we missed the first turn, missed the second turn. Picture number 3, driving towards I-75 and the bridge. Okay. So do you see I changed the color to the green. So here we go. Keep on going down. So this is where another intersect where you're able to make a left turn to get back to the hotel. So this right here is the third turn. Make that U-turn. And over here, I put the white circle where it said last incident that took place before the bridge or maybe under the bridge. But at this moment, this is where the car made the U-turn to get back to the hotel, but an incident took place here. And after that, we're straight ahead to where you see the Circle K. And there's different ways to get to the Circle K. Okay. Any questions or any concern from the family?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop right here because I just want to present the map so the family can visually see the three different misturns to the hotel at the moment. So Ava, let me know when you are ready.
I am not ready. You keep doing what you need to do. I am still, for some reason, the files I pulled up earlier, I'm not able to see them. So I'm trying to just go back through and find them again. If you happen to see them, if you could pull them up for me, that'd be
Okay.
great.
All right. All right. So all right, so while Ava is actually looking for information that she will present to the family, so at the moment, do anybody have any questions that they could think of that relates to this map that I'm presenting? Do you want me to go back over from the beginning of this map? Just let me know.
Yes, can you show me where you said that she missed the first turn to go to the hotel?
Yes, no problem, no problem at all. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the first picture. So this picture right here is showing from the Papa John's to the hotel. So they already made it to the Papa John's. So you will see the dark blue line. And I'm sorry, do you see where it say the Papa John's letter A?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So they're leaving out. So there's different ways to get inside the Papa John's as you can see on the map. So just follow the dark blue line. It's easier. So they had to leave out. They actually had to make a right turn due to you cannot make a left turn. You made a right turn. You have to actually get to the left lane to make a U turn. When you make that U turn, you have to actually get to your left lane because the turn to get to the hotel is on the left side. So this right here is the first missed turn. So if you follow the dark blue line, this right here will be the turn that was supposed to be made to get to the hotel. But that did not happen. And I did show like the distance, 5 minutes for vehicle and walking distance like 9 minutes. But we know some cases the minutes do change due to the traffic. So this is the first missed turn. I'm about to go to the next missed turn. So this is the next missed turn. So due to I had to crop it to make it much easier for everybody to see. So the first turn that if you see the black circle, that will be the first turn that will be made to get to the hotel. But that did not happen. So the orange line will be the second turn. So the orange line show another possible way to reach the hotel by neither making a U-turn or turning left and continue straight where the yellow line is at. But that turn was missed. So if she did make the U-turn, if they made the U-turn, it will be right here. But when I looked through the maps, I noticed that it was quite a few missed turns that could have been made. Could have been an easier way to make, but I'm not quite sure how traffic was. So this right here is a second missed turn that was um, that was missed. Sorry, that was missed. Here is. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, this is the third picture. All right, so the third picture will show where the orange line is at, where the U-turn could have been made, or she could have made the left turn to the yellow line and make another way to get to the hotel. But that didn't happen. So the green line you're going to see is another way. And of course, you have to be on the left lane to make the left turn. And I'm sorry, while they are driving, so this right here is traffic light. So each turn you saw had a traffic light. And this right here is another left turn where you can make a U-turn because you cannot make a turn one way going to leading off to the highway. So you make a U-turn here, and it's where the last incident took place before the bridge or under the bridge. And after that, it was straight to Circle K. So it was three missed turns that was missed. Well, sorry, the third turn was the U-turn to get back to the hotel, but that was not the case. The next step was actually Circle K.
Okay, thank you.
No problem at all. Anybody else in the family would like to ask me a question?
MG, can you also show the other photo where you can see all the turns on one page, the one that's in Slack?
Oh, the bird eye view.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So give me why the stop the share real quick
Okay.
because I don't want to bring something else up. But yes, I definitely got you. All right, so it's give me a
Or if
second.
it's easier, I actually have it up and I can share if it's not blocked. If that's easier, then you want to pull it up just so that they can see everything like on one photo.
Copy that. All right, so let me do this and bring this down.
I saw where you hit it.
Because if you do share, I think Ava had to add you to share. All right, so give me 1 second. Oh, let me mute myself.
And MG, your laptop is added.
Sure. Oh yes, I saw. I had to actually put a stop on my share because I didn't want to bring anything else
Okay.
up. So I'm about to bring up what Natalie asks about the photos
I
at the
just sent the
intersect.
request for share so that
Okay, so Natalie says she we put
I
a
can
Give
see.
me
request
just
in.
a second.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find where Natalie's sharing. I don't see your request, Natalie. Sorry.
Not showing.
Mm-mm. Okay, I see it now. Oh,
Oh, I took it off.
as soon as I saw it.
It's okay. I'll redo it. That's yep.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. So I just wanted you guys to be able to see it on one photo. If you look here, this is actually one live view from the top. So the purple here is where Papa John's is. The phone store that they went to is up at the top in the blue. The big yellow is the hotel. The red is where he was located, and this light blue here is Circle K.
Mm.
So leaving Papa John's, they would have went to the right to make a U-turn in order to get on the side of the road that they needed to get on to get back to the hotel. They should have made the turn here to go to the hotel. They missed that turn. They went to this intersection. They could have made a left and went through. They could have made a U-turn and went back. They missed that intersection. Here, there's another intersection right before 75. I don't know if you can make a U-turn there, but if you're really out of your way, lost, going the wrong direction and realize it, most people would have done that if it was available, but they did not. And then they went under I-75, which is here,
Mm.
made the U-turn, and then he was located in the red square.
Mhm.
So I thought it was important for you guys to be able to see the different places where they should have turned or could have turned to make it to their actual destination, and those were all missed.
And it was a very quick. It was quick, so it's not like you're driving and you have to drive a very far distance. This is within, so from Papa John's to that U-turn, it's all under 10 minutes.
Correct.
It's a very short time, a very short distance. MG, if you
Yes,
want to
indeed.
finish what you were doing.
No, I'm just looking for the actual photo of the intersex so everybody can see. But you can continue on. I'm trying to bring it up. No, but thank you, Natalie, for showing that.
No problem.
So while they're going, MG is looking for what she needs. I did want to ask the question, the family, if they had any questions in regards to the medical side of anything.
Some of us on the live tonight are familiar with the medical information.
Hmm.
And so they may have questions based off of what they know. If you guys have questions from a medical perspective,
Yeah.
Ava is absolutely amazing at what she does and very knowledgeable. And then I know we also have someone with us who is not as familiar with the medical evidence. So, Miss Ava, if you can present um, just kind of what I know you did talk about the score that was determined at the scene, but if you can kind of just present what the medical records revealed as far as his injuries and the time frame as far as how likely it is or how long it could have been from the time he was injured to the time he was found, and then also what type of injuries could explain the injuries that were, or what type of, I don't know if you get what
Yeah. What would happen to cause
yeah,
that type of injury? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I understood. I know. I got you.
okay.
Okay. So we reviewed this before, but based off of, I was able to look at partially. Let me just say that, so I'll be very clear. I was partially able to look at medical records from the hospital in comparison to what we received from the medical examiner's office, and few discrepancies that I saw. Um, and I don't know if there are discrepancies intentional, so I won't make that claim. But just the hospital records were very clear that when Tyrone came into the hospital, he was in a bad condition. From the very first doctor that saw him, this is based off of the hospital records, but from the very first doctor that saw him, he was concerned and almost immediately consulted a neurosurgeon because of the extent of his injuries. Within minutes of him arriving at the hospital, he had to be intubated, which means that he had to have a tube down his throat because he wasn't able to protect his airway. So, when you're not able to protect your airway, that is an indication of a serious brain injury. So, he wasn't able to protect his airway. He wasn't responsive. And again, his Glasgow coma score was almost at the very lowest. Even in the ambulance, he was at his very lowest. Almost, sorry, he was at a 4 when the lowest is a 3. So we're checking responsiveness, trying to see how we can get somebody to respond in that instance, just to see what your brain activity is. And he wasn't able to follow any commands. He wasn't able to wake up. He wasn't able to grab anybody's hands. He wasn't able to do anything. So, like I said, when he got to the hospital, almost immediately he had to be intubated. Almost immediately, the ER doc consulted neurosurgery. And when neurosurgery came in just a few minutes later, it wasn't an hour that he was there. Neurosurgery came and consulted and said that the injury was so severe that it was something that likely, even if they did an operation, it was unsurvivable. So we knew from the very beginning, within an hour of him arriving, that it was a serious injury, inoperable, and that the likelihood of him surviving was very low. So Um, just the hospital records, from what I could see, were very clear that the story that was being told in regards to jumping from the car, rolling from the car, um, that story seemed to consistently change through the provider notes, as different modalities or different doctors from different specialties came and saw him. The story seemed to change from, okay, this may have happened that way, to, okay, we have some concerns because none of the injuries are matching what is being told. And there was some concern there. So I won't speak to the legal side of it, but from the medical standpoint, the doctors didn't feel like his injuries matched what was being said, and that was evident in their notes. On the From what could be described from the provider notes, and again, when medical professionals write notes, we are writing notes so that if we have to stand up in court, our notes are speaking for us as though we were in the room with the patient. So from the notes, it was very clear. The doctor's like, there's only one injury, and the injury was to the back of the head, and the other one was just an abrasion to the shoulder, to the left shoulder. There was nothing else of concern. So when we see the photos later, where you see um, the extent of his injury, or when the family saw the extent of his injury to his head, or when you see the autopsy report and you see all of these different injuries being described, a lot of those came as a result of that one singular injury. So when you see multiple blunt force trauma, is it likely that he was hit or beat about his head? Probably not. But one injury can cause diffuse injury or widespread injury. So if so, I was telling, like I stated before, if Tyrone were getting out of the car, and again, the team believes that something happened inside of the car or as he was exiting the car that caused, that caused his ultimate demise. So what I firmly believe from a medical standpoint is that when he was getting out, likely when he was getting out of the car or when he was turning his head to exit the car, is when he might have been struck. And if you're turning, an injury will look different. A brain injury will look different if your head is straight at a standstill in position forward. It will look completely different than it would if you were turning your head while you were being struck. And so what I think happened was he was turning his head as he was being struck. Maybe he was looking over his shoulder to look back. Maybe he was turning his head to exit the car, whatever. But if you look at the autopsy reports, it says that his brainstem was torn. So the impact of being hit caused his brainstem to tear, which would have caused all those other injuries. So it would have caused, or all the other things that you saw on the surface. Most of his injury was internal, but you saw the external manifestation. So the black eyes, that's the indication of being struck in the back of the head, like a base injury. You saw the fractures on the side. Well, if his head is turning in motion, if you hit one place, I explained in previous live that our brain will fracture, our skull will fracture like glass. If you hit the glass in one spot, you might have like a big dent in that one spot, but see all those small cracks and fractures going that start to spread. That's what happened to his head all the way around. So when he was struck at that one base injury, and then he would have had those fractures or those small little fractures go around. When you saw it says he had hemorrhaging. Well, that's just the small vessels are bursting. So then you see all the external stuff. His pressure was building because all those vessels were bursting, and all of that fluid didn't have anywhere to go. And that's why you would have saw they had to do the burr hole so he could have somewhere to drain all of that excess fluid. So the swelling, all that stuff is manifestation. I know someone had made mention of him having or the autopsy report, and other people had concerns about him having like an abrasion to the side of his mouth. Well, he was intubated, and we put the tubes that come out of the mouth, we either put those on the left or right, or we put it in the middle because we want to rotate to avoid those types of injuries. So if it wasn't rotated frequently, or if it was pressure on that area, you would have seen that. So when I say the discrepancy between the autopsy and the hospital records are clear. Like when he came in, he didn't have any injury. There was no diffuse, widespread injury anywhere. There was an injury to the base of his skull, to the back of his head, and there was a abrasion across his left shoulder. So when you get to the medical or the autopsy report, you start to see like those small things like scar here, scar here, scar here, scar here. But the autopsy report should be very thorough, and it wasn't. The autopsy report should be a walk-in record. So if the coroner never walked in, the medical examiner never walked into the courtroom, his record should be able to tell a complete story. And when you say scar, that could be any number of things. Was it old? Was it new? Was it scabbed? Was it this? Was it that? So when you have the untrained eye looking at that type of report and you see all that things, it makes it look like the injuries were more they were scattered all over his body. But on arrival to the hospital, from the very moment he arrived at the hospital, it was clear he only had two injuries. One was to the base of his skull, which caused that widespread neurological decline, and then he had just an abrasion across the left shoulder, and that was it.
And Miss Ava, based on your medical knowledge and what you know as to what his injuries were, based on the photos, based on the records, um, time frame wise, what do you think, um, or what is the likelihood that these injuries occurred anywhere other than?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And I've been clear about that from the very beginning. So the type of injury that he had. So when the witnesses showed up to the scene, the nurse who showed up to the scene, she described him. So if we look at the records, right? So he was and I don't want to give inaccurate times, but was it 46 or 49 that the witnesses arrived on the scene? So we see the girlfriend's car, per the police reports, out of frame at 44, and witnesses arrived at 46. We know he left from Papa John's at 39, I believe. So he was functioning normal, walking, talking, able to go inside the store, pick up the pizza, get back in the car. So we know that something happened rapidly. And even if we don't know that to be true, just based on how he was found, if so, the witnesses say they arrived on scene and he was writhing, groaning, unable to respond in any meaningful or purposeful way. And then he had involuntary urination. So one of the things that I noticed when I initially saw the pictures was the way that he was positioned and his hands. And that's what made me know that it was something very, very serious, very, very early. So we call it posturing. So when somebody is going through a rapid neurological decline, their body does a couple of different things. So his fingers were curled, and you could see how his feet were positioned, and that's called posturing. It was almost like a seizure state, and it's like coming out of that seizure state to a relaxed calm, and that's your body is shutting down at that point. It's coming down to a relaxed calm. And when the witnesses arrived, they said they saw him doing all that stuff, and then it stopped, and he had involuntary urination. That's a sign of a brainstem damage. So we know that from Papa John's to and I know that it's been stated that this could have happened earlier in the day. No, the extent of that injury, no, he wouldn't have survived hours. He wouldn't have survived 30 minutes. He wouldn't have. No, this was a rapid decline. This was a rapid injury. It was a severe. It was a very. It was a critical injury. It was fast. And it was a very, very bad injury, and it happened quick. That's all I can keep saying is that it happened quick. It happened quick. It wouldn't have happened earlier in the day. He wouldn't have been able to drive from the cabin to Gainesville, sit in the hotel for hours, go get pizza, call and order pizza, go pick it up. He wouldn't have been able to do all of that and function normally. No, it wouldn't have happened that way.
And thank you for clarifying that, because that was one of the concerns that we as a family had, with so many questions and so many unknown parts of this case. One of our concerns was, did this happen earlier? So I think it's important for us to know that that's not a possibility.
No.
And then I also wanted to ask, based on your medical knowledge, and everything that we have, everything that you all have reviewed, we know that the results of his injuries would have happened rather quickly.
Hmm.
Um, and I personally understand the difference between brain death and being declared dead and things like
Right.
that. But can you address, for my family as well as for the public, what that looks like? Because I know that there's a lot of um, speaking about his state at the time the photos were taking. And my opinion, of course, differs, as I've explained to you previously, from what's being presented in the public. So, can you explain a little bit just about what the possibility of his state at that point was?
So this is why we use that. Let me, and I want to be, I don't want to even like venture into just giving, I want to give a real legit definition because then we can, so this is why we use different scales, right? That GCS or that Glasgow Coma scale, that tells us a lot, you know, and this is why we use those scales to assess neurological function. And there's some things that they would be doing on a regular basis within the hospital setting to determine his neurological state. But even before we get to that point, right? So one of the ways that we can check to see if somebody's brain is still functioning is if they can protect their airway. If you stick your finger down your throat, right? The natural response for you to do is either do one or two things. You either gonna cough or you gonna gag. You're gonna try to stop something from being put down your throat. He didn't have that ability any longer. When you start writhing, groaning, there's no response whatsoever, no matter what somebody is doing. You lose complete voluntary function of your bladder, your bowels, different things like that. Your those are things that our bodies naturally control. We lose that brain function when something happens like that. So was he when he got to the hospital again, his GCS was a 4. He had lost complete voluntary control of his bladder. He had lost complete voluntary control of protecting his airway. He wasn't able to do anything. That's brain death. So people think that when brain death is death, because once the brain is dead, your body, what there's no function that your body will have that you can do on your own. So you would require intubation with a breathing tube. You will require artificial feeding. You will require, everything will be artificial, and anything that requires artificial life is no longer alive. If you can't do it for yourself, if there's no function naturally and it's all artificial, then brain death is legal death. If you're brain dead, that's why when the doctors would have talked to the family, they would have said, okay, this is what's going on. His brain is, and then if or when they pulled the tube out, if he wasn't able to breathe on his own, then it's legal death. If you can't do it on your own, if everything that is natural to you is no longer functioning, then you are legally dead. So at the scene, yes, he was still breathing, but barely. He had lost function, and even in the in the ambulance, they said that he required oxygen, a non-rebreather, because he wasn't able to protect his airway, and he was intubated immediately. It wasn't even a 6-minute drive to the hospital, and he was intubated because he couldn't protect his airway, and he was dying rapidly. He was already brain close to brain death on scene. So, I mean, I don't know how to explain it any more. Brain death is legal death.
That's actually, you explained it perfectly. I just wanted to make that clear because
Yeah.
although the doctors hadn't declared him dead, his
Yes.
bodily functions had
Yes.
already shown that that was the case. So thank you for that. I appreciate all the work you all have done. I know it's a lot for my family to take in. Me, I've been kind of going through this process with you all
Mhm.
over the last few months, going over this evidence, reviewing what these things mean and what these things look like.
Mhm.
But I know for them, this is new and it's a lot because it's been a lot for me. So I kind of want to just really quickly check in with them and make sure they're okay and ask if they have any additional questions um, as to what you all have already presented.
Yeah.
How's everybody in the family feeling right now?
Mhm.
Miss Erica, Miss
I'll speak. I just feel like it's definitely a lot to take in. It's honestly no words. I can't say what I really want to say because I have to, be respectful. But all I can say is it's a lot for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, it's understandable. Anybody else would like to share?
or even
Yeah,
beyond,
I
you
just
guys have questions, we can answer some questions about
I don't
what.
have any questions because I'm pretty much caught up on like everything, but I just wanted to thank you for clarifying it with everybody because a lot of people were sharing his pictures, stating that he was still here when we first got the pictures months ago. We kind of knew that
Mhm.
he pretty much, passed under that bridge
Yeah.
from his appearance.
Mhm.
So, with those people posting him and putting his pictures out there like that, it was just like a slap in the face to the family because that was something that we was not trying to share with the world. I mean, granted, we tried to share a lot of things with the world, but those pictures, we kind of knew that he was passing and he, under that bridge because of how he was and the state he was in.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Anybody else? And it's just, I just want to do a temperature check just to make sure everybody is okay to go on, um, and have further discussion and answer questions. I don't, if this is too much, we can stop.
I'm willing to keep going. I want to know for sure.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. And Ellie, how you doing?
You know, I'm doing what I've been doing. I'm pushing through because I don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been telling Natalie, and like she said, we've talked for months. So we've been telling Natalie from the very beginning, we are definitely here to support the family in any way possible. Any questions, any concerns, anything that you all may need, we are here to support. Definitely on the side of justice for Tyrone and justice for the family. So if you guys need anything, just let us know.
Well, I would
Um,
like to ask a question. I don't know if it's okay to ask, but
Yeah.
from your opinion, like, do you think that he was suffering, or if it was painful for him?
Um, I'll say this because we never know. I'll say that this would have happened so rapidly that it's unlikely that he would have had the cognition or the mind to even recognize everything that was happening. Would he have been in pain? Yeah, probably, but it would have happened so quick, that, I mean, I don't know that it would have been something that he'd have been like, oh God, and he would have had to really be awake for after it happened, because it happened fast. It happened very, very fast. Very, very, very fast. So, um, to say that people who cannot respond are not having pain. That's not a fair statement because we don't know. They can't speak to us. They can't tell us. But we look at um, visible. We try to look at different signs like behavioral signs. Is there groaning? Is there moaning? Is there wincing? Is there any of that? But again, uh, brain death is ultimately death. I mean, it's irreversible. There's nothing that you can do to bring back. Once the brain is dead, there's nothing you can do to bring it back to life. It's not like the heart where you can pump the heart and make it start pumping blood again. Once the brain is dead, the brain is dead. So I don't think that he would have felt anything for long. I think it, and then once the ambulance got there, just a few minutes later, they gave him something to help relax him when they saw that he was posturing, and then he got medicine, pain medication immediately when he got to the hospital. So I don't think that he would have been in pain very long at all.
I do have a question as well.
Hmm.
Um, was any TCDs studies done? I know that they said there was no brain activity, but was like an ultrasound of his brain done at all?
I don't have complete medical records.
What
Um,
was your question, Erica? I apologize.
Was like a transcranial Doppler done on his brain at all? Like an ultrasound of his brain to see if he had any brain activity through any of his vessels?
I know that I don't know exactly what was done as far as like procedure wise, but I know that they did check multiple times for brain activities, and I know even in the final moments before they legally declared him brain dead through the doctor, they did a full assessment. They said normally the assessment takes about 45 minutes. They took about an hour because they did give us additional time because they what the doctor explained to us was if we could get any sign of life, if we could get any sign of any brain activity, they would rush him into surgery and try anything that they could to save
yeah.
him. And so, in those moments, or that hour before his death, they did several tests for any type of bodily response. They removed the breathing tube. They allowed us as the family to talk to him to see if we could get any response because they're like sometimes familiar voices will trigger certain emotional or physical responses.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, the assessment they said they told us it normally takes about 45 minutes. They gave it about an hour before they did the actual declaring of him to be brain dead. And there was nothing during that entire time.
Okay, thank you.
And there are some additional things that I want to share with the family, Ava, if you don't mind. It's directly from the reports.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I also thought it was important for you all to know. Like I said, been reviewing a lot. We're still waiting for a lot, but I continue to review what I have. Some of these things we've talked about, but like I said, I think it's important for you all to know specifically. So while I have you here, I did want to share. One of the things that we've requested and received already is the CAD calls, which is the 911 transcripts from Gainesville Police Department. And so in this particular transcript, um, with the incident date of December 27, 1746-27 as the time, at 1756, it's documented in the CAD report. So this is law enforcement's report, um, that there was an update to the trauma alert reference. The subject fell out of a moving vehicle and there's a loss of consciousness.
Mhm.
And so that's at 1756. So that's 556. 2 minutes later, there is an additional update and it says updated 1043. Not sure if, and there's two codes, and I actually went back and researched with Gainesville what these codes mean. So not sure if medical emergency or a traffic accident and fell in road. Girlfriend here on scene for him advised 5 minutes ago he got out of the car and started walking, still working on it. So, in a matter of 2 minutes, the story changed from he fell out of a moving vehicle till he got out of the car and started walking.
Mhm.
And so for me, that was um, very concerning. And then in the police report, where she sent a text message to his mom, she stated, I'm trying to find it because I don't want to paraphrase or summarize and get anything inaccurate, but she did send a text message to his mom, and I want to say that this was on the 20. 1 second, I'm trying to find it. I want to make sure I get it right. The
I
28th, she says he ended up getting out of the car for space after our conversation, and he ended up slipping and banging his head. And so, even beyond the stories that we as the family received directly, these are statements that are written in police records where there's three different accounts written in Gainesville Police Department records that all differ. So I definitely felt like it was important for you guys to know that. And then another thing that stood out to me in that same CAD call, um, in reference to this interaction at 1808, there was a notation saying that he is still unresponsive, think they are about to intubate him. If we can determine if this is a crash, we may need to notify traffic homicide investigators. So at 1808, this is I'm not sure if this is fire rescue or the hospital staff, but Gainesville Police Department were notified that he's unresponsive, that there's a need to intubate, and that there's concern and that traffic homicide needed to be notified. Literally at 1828, 20 minutes later, the classification was changed and it says problem changed from S4P1, vehicle accident with injuries, to S31, medical emergency by law enforcement. So literally you were told that traffic homicide investigators needed to be contacted, and 20 minutes later you chose to change the classification of the call from vehicle accident with injuries to medical emergency, even though Florida law, if you chose to go by her statement, which as law enforcement, we trusted them to do a proper investigation. But if you chose to go by her statement meets the criteria for a vehicle accident in the state of Florida. So that's even more of a reason why traffic homicide should have been called to that scene, and they were not. And then the final thing from this cat call that stood out to me was that at 23:38, photos of the vehicle were taken and uploaded. And this is after the case had been closed, reopened, closed again, and reopened. And this is all according to this one CAD record. But literally, you didn't take photos of this vehicle until 11:38 p.m. from an incident that occurred close to 6 o'clock. So I think it's important for you all to have that information as well. Um, I know some of you all I've shared that with before, but not all of you. So, like I said, I thought it was important for you all to have that. Um, any other questions? It's a lot of evidence. I told you guys we can sit down and I'm okay with going over it or allowing you guys to go through it and draw your own interpretations or conclusions or review of this information because it is a lot. But outside of what we've given you all, do you have any questions about anything? I know the team did want to ask some questions just about the grief process and what this loss has looked like for the family as a whole. And when I say family, I've been clear on this platform previously, and I will continue to try to be clear as we move forward. I'm talking about the family of Tyrone Davis, and that's not the Davis side or the Jennings side because there is no side. It's about Tyrone Davis Jr. It's about him. It's about his children. It's about his legacy, and we all play a role in that legacy, in that life. And so, um, we all stand for figuring out what happened to him, whatever that may be, and holding those accountable who played a role in him not being here with us today. So we don't choose sides. We don't um, pick or choose despite whatever may be going on in the world. We just want to know the truth about what happened to him. And that's not something that I want. That's something that everyone who loved and cared for him truly wants. So, do you guys have any questions before they go on into um, the remainder of the conversation as to what he meant to us and what this grief has been looking like for us?
Not for me.
All I can say is like I've been saying, it's very hard. You know, it's been a very hard process. On my end, I just try to live through his happy videos and who he was as a person on this earth instead of trying to figure out this case, because the case just does not make sense, and it frustrates me on a daily basis. And I feel like the best way for us to remember him is to look at his smile, hear his laugh, just see, who he was every day as a person. He was who he was, like in real life. He didn't fake nothing. He was who he was. He was a man of love. So that's just how I try to remember him to get through the grieving process, because it's still hard, it's still fresh. And to not know what happened to your loved one, I feel like is the worst part of it all. To hear all these assumptions, to see him on social media in his worst way without people not having a care in the world about his family is disgusting and disgraceful. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question rather as well. Being that you all are professionals, in your opinion, with reopening the case and actually getting a conviction, what does that look like?
I'll be honest and say I am not legal at all. I am very medical and I leave legal to legal people. I know from speaking to, and I know from just overall conversation, I know that it was stated that it would have to be a GPD call, and it would be new evidence that was presented. It would have to be something that was something major, that was a change for them to consider reopening. GPD would have to get it. And if GPD said no, then it would have to be sent to the state's attorney. So I don't know beyond just that basic information. I don't know because again, I'm not in Florida. One, I'm not in. I don't know anything legal. I just know medical.
And
So
Miss Ava, I will say,
Okay.
I know
And
you're being mindful of what you're saying. That's why
yeah,
you just did
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
Pivot.
it's okay for you to share who,
Okay,
like, their
okay.
type. So she spoke with the private investigator.
Yeah, yeah. So I was
Um,
able to speak with the private investigator,
yeah,
okay,
and
and I definitely understand that part, and I
yeah,
understand that we would have to go through those proper channels,
yeah.
in regards to the attorney general. My question is, because you guys are professional in the medical field,
yeah.
once we cross that path, are you guys willing to take the stand to give your professional opinions on what could have happened or what you may think could have happened?
So I'll tell you what I said to the private investigator. He said because once you dip your foot in the pool, you kind of you set yourself up for becoming a witness. And anybody who puts their mouth on this situation is potentially a witness. So knowing that information and still being a part of the case, I mean, I I don't plan on not talking about it if that says anything.
It
So
does. It says a lot, so I appreciate that.
yeah, I
And
don't
then
plan
also,
on.
just so that the family is aware, I don't know if everyone on here knows or if any of you all know, there are these ladies are both professionals in their own right. They both have extensive knowledge, um, both on the case and then also in general in their specific fields. But also, we are consulting with actual experts in these fields as well, because I know a lot of times when it comes to legal proceedings, they want to hear from the subject matter experts. That's who they're asking to testify. That's who they are putting on the stand and making them swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth based on the evidence. And so we are also in contact with several experts in these fields as well, and not at all to take away from these ladies' experience and professionalism, but there is a difference between subject matter professionals who are very well versed and know their stuff and what the medical community considers experts. So we have both that we
Yes.
are consulting with, so that I'm not even going to say if, I'm going to say when we are to the position where we're ready to go and present this case to the state attorney's office and require and demand that they ask GPD to do what they should have done originally, and that's actually investigate this case, that we have the support across the board from the individuals who knows that what's being said does not match what we have.
Yeah, that's correct, Natalie. I focus on the timeline. I did not study medical, so that is not my field. So all I do is present information to the family, and they can present the information to the right people to see to get this case reopened.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Ava, if no one has any additional questions or case specific concerns, I'm okay with you moving forward with some of your additional questions.
All right. So I'm just going to do a smooth transition. So I know we focused on just kind of catching everybody up to where we are at this point. Like we said, as more evidence becomes available, and as GPD releases more records, we'll continue to do lives to address those things, and we'll continue to have interviews with the family as we do get more information, so we can keep everybody abreast of everything that's going on. But since we've already addressed that, we do want to address the human side. And like Natalie said, we asked the family to join us tonight so we could talk about the impact that this has had on their lives, the grief they've continued to carry, and the questions that are still living with them every single day, in the absence of Tyrone's presence. So before we get any deeper into our discussion, I love for everyone participating to again state their relationship to Tyrone. And then I'm going to start asking some questions. And I'll say, everybody does not have to chime in on each question. If you feel like you want to, you can. If it's too emotional for you, you don't have to. If it's just not something you want to discuss, that's okay as well. And at any point in time, if this gets too heavy, feel free to tap out. And we are okay with that. Again, we support you all through this. This grief is unimaginable. We are bystanders, and we appreciate you all letting us be a part of this experience, but this is not our experience. So um, I am sincerely sorry for what you all are experiencing, and I appreciate y'all just allowing us to be a part of it. But again, this is your experience, so we do want to hear how this experience is affecting each one of you. So if everybody could just introduce themselves one more time for people who may have just come into the chat. And we could start with Natalie.
So I'm Natalie Davis. Most of I think the world at this point knows me as the cousin of Tyrone Davis Jr. Um, and I am supporting getting answers for him, for all of his family, for his kids, and standing up for what is right, because this case has shown systematic failures in more ways than most people can imagine. And the public isn't always been helpful with handling and dealing with those things. So, yep, that's me.
Thank you, Natalie. And then um, Erica, I believe.
I'm the maternal cousin of Tyrone Davis Jr.
Thank you, Erica. Alicia.
I am the mother of his two children.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Seconda. I'm his one of his first cousins on his dad's side. And Tyrone Davis Jr. was more of a like a brother to me.
Mm,
So this loss was really devastating,
mm.
to say the least.
Yeah, we're again we're very 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 sorry for your loss, and I know words won't ever cover the emotion, but we are definitely sorry for your loss. Um, that said, I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. I missed quite a few, but I'm gonna try to reduce some of the questions that I do want to ask. Um, so first question I'm going to ask, and anyone can answer, everyone can answer, whichever is fine. How have you all been emotionally since his passing? And we can answer that individually or as a family.
Honestly, I've been angry
Mm-hmm.
Same.
and I've been very, very angry. And I'm just at a point that I don't feel like I deserve to grieve yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I even want to grieve yet. And I'm in a grief group with my family, and I don't even want to be in a group, honestly, because I don't want to move on yet. Because I don't want to move on with my life knowing that he's not here. I just had a birthday, Mother's Day, Easter, and every day's been sad. Like I don't want to. I don't. I still can't understand like how he's not here, and I'm just not ready to accept that yet. So that's how I feel.
Just to piggyback off of what Conda said, it's the same. It's nothing but anger. Um, Someone has to be held accountable, and it's just I don't know. I feel like no one can properly grieve without proper answers, proper justice, proper knowledge of what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this it's a tough pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she couldn't have said it best. I mean, he was the light for everyone. So, and like I said earlier, he was one of one. So we can't get this back. Like we can't ever have another T2. So, I mean,
Natalie, did you want to chime in? Alicia, did you want to chime in?
No, I'll skip this one.
Okay. Okay.
I'm numb in order to get through this process. I have to numb out the pain and the grief and the emotions when I'm in the space of handling case. And then when I can step out of that space momentarily, I am trying to learn to acknowledge and to properly process what this grief looks like because it's easy for you to judge and to create an idea about other people when they're in that experience or they're going through it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can never say what you would do, what you would think, what you would feel if it was you until those shoes are on your feet. And these are the most uncomfortable shoes I have ever put on. Erica said, "This the hardest pill we had to swallow. I feel like I'm trying to swallow a brick and I cannot get it down."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I can't say sorry enough. I just can't say sorry enough. For what you guys are experiencing. Um, I know Sakanda mentioned that she just had a birthday. How have holidays, birthdays, and family gatherings changed since his absence?
We have to love on each other 10 times harder just to get through because he was the light. Like, we always had love, but he was the one that's coming with a camera in everybody's face, want to record everybody. He gonna kiss you 1,000 times,
Mhm.
and we don't have that, and so it takes us that much more to get through those times now because he's not there.
Mhm.
I didn't even get out of bed until 2 p.m. on my birthday.
And we had to make her get up then.
And when I did get up, I wanted to go to the graveyard, but it started raining. And it just kept raining.
Mm.
And I kept wanting to go, but it just kept raining. And I'm not sure if that was him telling me not to come out there, but that's really all I wanted to do on my birthday. Because I'm so used to what he would say and do and pop up and just be here for me. And I don't have that no more. So birthdays is just like the worst days right now. And it makes me sick to my stomach to even think that he's not here.
Um, Alicia, I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind answering, and if not, then that's fine too. Um, how have the kids been coping with his loss?
To be honest, the I can, because I pay a lot of attention to my children. I can see a lot of anger. They are more angry since this happened. They haven't really like broken down. So they haven't really like processed it. So I try to like keep them busy to keep their mind going, keep them around, their family and stuff like that. Just keep them going. But I think they are just more angry than anything right now.
Yeah. I was able to speak with Natalie earlier in the week, and I know we had a couple of major events passed for the kids recently. How was their experience? I think your daughter had prom, your son had a birthday. How was that experience? The first experience without their dad.
Prom is actually Friday.
Okay. Okay.
So I think we're all trying to figure out how we're going to
Mm-hmm.
process that and support her in that. And then I know for if Alicia doesn't mind me answering,
No, you can go ahead.
okay. For his son's birthday, we were trying to figure out like what he wanted to do, and my sister, who he's super super close to, she's like, just ask him. And he made it very clear that his dad made a promise to him before going on that Christmas vacation. that they would go fishing together, and his dad never made it back to take him fishing. And so that was something that he still wanted to do. He said his dad came to him in a dream and they went fishing. And so he know that that was something that his dad still wanted to give him. And so that's what he wanted to do for his birthday. And so um as hard as we knew it would be for him, we made sure that there was a village there to support him. Um, Everyone who had been reaching out, just asking what they could do or how they could support his kids, we our response was literally show up, be consistent, and this goes not just for his kids. This goes for anyone who knows children that have lost a parent. Grief is hard for adults, so just imagine what it is like for a child. So if you know a child that has lost their parents and is dealing with life without their parents, don't call and ask what you can do. Show up, because it it makes the world of a difference, and there's no way to really fill those voids, and most kids don't know how to vocalize their needs. And so it's important for the adults in their lives to put themselves to the side and just show up consistently and be that present voice, that present person. Because I know his son right now is going through a lot, as well as his daughter, but his son has found his safe space in my sister who's on the call, and he calls her even when he's just emotionally not okay. And his daughter, of course, has a great relationship with her mom, so she leans on her mom. um, but we know that she's their only living parent, and none of us, no matter what we do, will ever fill the shoes or the role that Tyrone played in their life. And so we just have to continue to show up for them the best way we can and let them know he may not be here, but they're always supported.
Absolutely. 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 Hmm. Um, what have been some of the emotional challenges of having to grieve publicly?
Yeah, I want to take that one.
Mhm.
You can go, Nat. I'm over here crying. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, I think public grief is nothing that is. I don't think anyone could really have an expectation on what it would be like, but I don't think it's anything we ever expected it to be. When we brought this situation to the internet, it wasn't because we wanted to grieve in public. Honestly, it was just there was so much unknown,
Yeah.
and we were so afraid of his story being another story that was brushed under the rug and no one ever knowing um, what happened to him or knowing the truth, and it just being another situation where another social media influencer person passed away, and it's just that. And we knew that he was so much more and that his story was so much more, and that the questions that were raised in our mind based on conversations and information that we had received at that point from the medical community, as far as the hospital staff and things like that. At that point, there was so much unknown, so many questions, so much that we wanted to know, that we came to social media to shed light on it, on the case
Mhm.
and the concerns, and to kind of help us um, just see what was our next avenue, because this was a process that we had never been through. This was a situation that we had never experienced or never imagined ourselves experiencing. And so we reached out for guidance, for assistance, for support. And it became so much more and so much uglier than we ever could have anticipated. But I think grieving publicly it's hard. It's unimaginable. It is stressful. It is insensitive. Um, it is ugly. And with all of those negatives, it's also very supportive to a certain extent, because despite the negatives that have come from the way the case was handled publicly, there are also a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing connections, a lot of amazing support that we've received from individuals who genuinely just want the same thing that we want, and that's to find out what happened.
Right.
Um, and even though it did cause some confusion, it also brought a lot of individuals together. And it's going to there's going to be a shift in the atmosphere. The shift is already happening, and I'm going to claim that it will continue to happen. That we are going to shift into a season of accountability. We're going to shift into a season of justice, but we're also going to shift into a season of unity, because it's not about us. It's about Tyrone Davis Jr. and finding out what happened to him, and that's what's going to help each of us to even start to grieve, is those shifts. And so I'm looking forward to what is to come despite what has already happened publicly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know you just mentioned that grieving online has been both a blessing and a curse. Um, what are some moments where you felt like public support or public attention has been supportive versus like overwhelming or emotionally draining?
um Having platforms like yours that consistently focused on the facts of the case, and had the ability to drown out the noise and the confusion, and just focus on what we knew and what we needed to know. Um, Us as lay individuals, when, like I said, we brought it to the public, we spoke a lot about the things that we thought based on what we had at the time. And through this process, what we knew or what we were told, some things changed. And it wasn't necessarily a change as far as like, oh, it was a lie. It was more so the evidence came and corrected or explained certain things. And so having met positive individuals, seeing the support from around the world, seeing people from around the world really stand up for a cause, and then also just seeing the love for him. I don't know if you all saw the candlelight visual that we did. um the turnout at that candlelight, when we planned it and we were out there and we were originally setting up and doing these things, never in a million years would I have thought that that park was going to be filled the way it was filled, to where an entire street in our community was taken over, like they could not get through, just out of love for Tyrone. And we always knew that he was an amazing person. We always knew that he showed love. We always knew that he was real and genuine. But to see the turnout and the amount of love that the world had for him um, was nothing short of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can speak for the family when I say that.
Mm. Anyone else want to chime in?
But thank you for sharing that, Natalie.
Mhm. Okay. Has balancing privacy with public interest in the case been challenging for the family?
It was in the beginning, um, because we wanted to share. We wanted to bring the world in because we knew that we opened that door, and so we wanted to make sure that we kept the world updated and that we made the best out of what where we were and what we had. But we've learned through this process um, the importance of discernment. We've learned through this process the importance of being mindful of what we share and how we share. And we've learned even more so to um, communicate with each other, and that it's okay to not share everything, and that everything isn't for everyone, and that despite the support that the world showed us, we've given a lot. And the more you give, the more they take, and the more you give, the more they expect. And so you have to set boundaries and limits. And so we've now started to focus more on setting those boundaries, setting those limits, getting the information that we need to get the results that we need, um, and sharing as we see appropriate and not based on us feeling obligated.
Mm, thank you. Would you all like to see more compassion and sensitivity in the way cases like this are discussed publicly? I guess the question is, do you all think that just because people have access, do you all think that um, that warrants uh, whatever comes with it? You know,
Nope.
um, because I think a lot of times, on our last live, I didn't say anything about the case. I talked about how I'm an '80s baby, and I talked about how things look so different with social media. And in my real life, I'm not on social media. This is the extent of my social media access. Because I said there, I remember growing up when grief was when a family member passed away and you had people bring over plates of macaroni and cheese and dressing and chicken, and I remember that kind of grief, and I remember when it was genuine, and they said, and when people came and said, I'm sorry for your loss, and they respected the privacy, at least in front of you they respected your privacy, and they didn't expect access to everything, and they referred to our loved ones with respect. I remember that time. And so social media has changed that so drastically, and I think that sometimes we forget that even in the world of social media, we still have to show respect and compassion and sensitivity in regards to how we handle people in their grief. Because, like you said at the very beginning of all of this, Natalie, we don't know in our grief, we don't know how to respond all the time. We don't know what's right and what's wrong. We don't know, our feelings are scattered, they skewed,
Hmm.
and nothing is normal anymore. Our new normal is not normal. So I mean, I guess the question I'm asking is, from this case, what do you hope that I'm sorry, from this case, what do you all hope that people would learn in regards to compassion and sensitivity?
It's us today, but it could be you tomorrow. I think that's the biggest lesson in all of this is um we've seen grief for others, and we've always tried to support and love on people in their grief. And like I told my family yesterday, life is short. You literally can be here today and gone in 5 minutes, not even tomorrow. And so, as much as people lack compassion and consideration now, due to the changes, and I think it's a big part of it is social media, the fact that they can hide behind the keyboard and just the monitor, and it's not a face-to-face interaction as if like it used to be, where there was a level of compassion and consideration because it wasn't the social media facade. It was personal. And so social media has taken away that personal component. And I think it's important for people to remember whatever you chose to portray or whatever you chose to make this situation, it's our situation today, but it could be anybody else's situation tomorrow. And
Absolutely.
so um, it's okay to have an opinion, but, and I'm trying to be careful of my word choices, opinions are just like buttholes. Everybody has one.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean the world needed yours.
Mm-hmm.
And you put your mouth on people, and when I say that, I mean you speak on people, and you speak on situations, and you make up lies, and you run with false narratives, and you use things for attention or to make yourself relevant or to be a part of something, and you don't realize that it's easy for me to do because it's not my loved one, it's not my cousin, my brother, my child's father, my son, but it could be. And I think the biggest thing for social media to take away from this case is treat others how you want to be treated, because it could be you
Yeah,
or your loved one.
absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That can happen to anybody.
Mm-hmm. You sure could. I want to backtrack just a second, and I know from the start of this, Natalie, you made mention that Tyrone was raised by a village. How is that village doing? His grandmother, his aunt, his dad. How is that village doing?
Um, well, first, I want to be clear that village extends beyond those individuals. They definitely played a role in his upbringing, but his village is very, very extensive. His mom, his
Yeah.
siblings on both sides, his aunts and uncles on both sides.
Mhm.
He has an extensive village across the board. Um, and I can't speak to the entire village because I'm not in communication with everyone. But I will say the parts of his village that I am in contact with, and that's both on mom and dad's side, because there are individuals on mom's side who I do communicate with. Um, a lot of us are hurt. A lot of us are angry. A lot of us are confused. Um, and a lot of us are drawing closer to each other and loving more on each other, because if someone like Tyrone can be taken away from us this way, this soon, with this much disregard for his life, um, it shows us that life is short, and it shows us the importance of um, forgiveness, the importance of loving each other, the importance of communication, the importance of growth. And so we're using this as a bridge to bring us closer together, and as a reminder to just be more deliberate in our communications and our interactions, and then also to be mindful as to what we share, because like I've alluded to, there are things that have been put out and twist and turned and made to appear to be something that was never the intent um, in the social media universe. Because again, you're hiding behind a keyboard and a mouse, and it's easy to cause confusion and sow discord when it's not personal. And so I think this is a lesson. This is a growing opportunity. This is a learning opportunity. And this is a time to take this loss as a reminder that tomorrow is not promised. Love on your people, hug on your people. And it's crazy that I'm sitting here saying this because I just watched a video where he was saying the same things at my grandfather's candlelight visual. And that brought us closer together. But I think it's just the difference. My grandfather was 70 years old. He lived an amazing life. He had been through so many different things that even though his loss rocked us to our core, it was a loss that we could process because we knew what happened. We knew how it happened. He had lived an amazing life and he was tired. But this is something completely different. The unknown components, the multiple blunt force injuries, the stories that don't match up, the discord that has been and the confusion that has been sown across social media, the fact that he was so young, the fact that his children are so young, um, I think it all is just different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We definitely live in a different world. We definitely live in a different world now. What are um some of the things you would like the people following this case to remember about Tyrone, about this case, in general? What do you think is important for them to remember?
I've said it a few times. We real people.
Mm-hmm.
I think people see social media and they're so used to um the the like talk shows, the Real Housewives, like that type of um stories or situations that they forget that just because we're on social media doesn't mean we're not real people who are really grieving this loss. We are he This is a man with kids. This is a man with a mother and a father. This is a man with grandmothers who were active in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get on social media and you choose to put out not even just the images, also the false narratives about who he was, the just flat out lies about the type of person he was or the things that he was involved in. If you don't know him, then send your condolences and keep it moving. And if you do know him, to know him is to love him because that's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, yeah, I just want the world to know, like, despite what people choose to lie and say on social media, Tyrone was and will always be for us, like they said, that light. He was the love, he was the joy, he was the push, he was the one that was gonna motivate everybody. If it's Mother's Day, every woman in the family getting a text about how they stand up and do what they're supposed to as moms. If it's Father's Day, he gonna text all the fathers giving them love. If it's um a time to come together, he's gonna be right there. And um we stood together in so many different situations, in so many different arenas, on so many different platforms. Even me and him personally on um YouTube, we were doing live videos once a week on different topics on YouTube. not on YouTube, I'm sorry, on Instagram.
Mhm.
But he was a real person. So if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Like I think we was taught that as kids.
Mhm.
But again, that keyboard courage.
Mhm. Okay. So I'm just going to ask one more question and then I'm going to take a couple questions from the chat and then try to get everything wrapped up. Is there any question or anything that anybody on the panel would like to say that has not been addressed today about the case, about Tyrone, about the family, about anything in general? Okay. MG, you have anything to add?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Natalie, are you comfortable with us taking a couple of questions from the chat?
I don't mind.
Oh, if they do have questions offline, that's fine.
That you're addressing the family.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
apologize. For the family, if you do have offline questions, if you want
Mm.
to ask, we can do that offline.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm actually, I just got to where I can see the comments from the public because I have to tone them out because sometimes it becomes just a lot in general. I see someone said, I remember he did the train ride for everyone. That was so special. That was actually something that I planned. I'm like the family trip and activity planner. So I planned, it was for, I want to say my aunt's birthday. We was like, what do we want to do? We should all do something together. And so we literally decided to get on a trial rail and go up to West Palm and spend a day together. And we had an absolute blast. We laughed the whole way there, the whole way back, and the whole time in between. So we literally loved on each other in real life, and we did that on a continuous basis. And I'm happy to have had all of these years with him because those memories, like Erica said earlier, those memories is what's going to keep us through this situation and help us to get through it because without those, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
memory lane. There's some stuff in the chat. I'm trying to block certain things for the family so that y'all were not able to see some of the questions that are negative.
Okay, no problem.
And just a disclaimer for the chat. Please be respectful. Avoid accusations, assumptions, or speculation. Do not mention or address content creators, channels, or social media pages. Avoid using anyone's name other than Tyrone's during this discussion. Do not argue or try to invalidate the emotions or experiences of the family. Avoid sharing information that has not been confirmed by the family or through public documentation. We will not tolerate harassment, profanity, threats, or disrespectful comments. And questions from the chat may be selected, but only respectful and appropriate questions will be addressed. With that, if the chat has a couple of questions, we can you want to ask directly to either the panel, myself or MG, or the family members. We'll take a
And I
couple.
see someone say he has a beautiful soul in and out. He listen, as much of him as you all were able to see online via his YouTube channel and his social media platforms, it was 10 times more for us in person. When I tell you the way he loved on us is amazing, you guys have no idea.
Okay, so I put a question up
Yes.
on the
With all
stage.
of the inaccuracies with regard to GPD, will the family be having another meeting with them? At some point, I do anticipate us having another meeting with them. However, um, from me and the professionals that are involved in the case, it's pretty clear that GPD has failed to do their job in many aspects, and because of that, are afraid of reopening the case because reopening the case means that they're acknowledging their failures. And
Mhm.
so, um, do I anticipate sitting down and having another conversation with them? Absolutely. But I don't feel like it's going to be done directly to them just because realistically we acknowledge those failures. We acknowledge um, their refusal to acknowledge those failures. And so, accountability to us at this point doesn't look like going directly to them. It looks like putting a microscope on them and allowing other people to require them to do what our tax dollars pay them to do. But yes, we do anticipate having another meeting with them.
Thank you, Natalie. Um, this one from Love Peace said, I decree and declare that Tyrone Jr. will get justice. We rebuke every stagnation tampering with this case. Amen.
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 For
Um,
that.
Stephanie McMurray said, absolutely. And the courage and strength that you've exhibited as a family has been unimaginable and outstanding. I have nothing but respect for you all.
Thank you very much. And I'm going through the previous comments as well while you go through those questions. I do see
Mhm.
a question. Why was Tasha's son at the hospital and didn't call us? Tasha's son went to the hospital when we called, when the family called and asked the individuals who were closer to the location to get there. They went together to support him so that he wasn't alone because we would take 5 hours to get there based on location. He was not there prior to, as social media loves to insinuate. All respect to the Davis family. My question, and for everyone wants to know. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
That's the one you just addressed. Yeah, you just addressed it. I just wanted to see what everybody could see what you were reading. Here, let's show this one.
He definitely was. He was amazing. Like in real life, he was amazing.
Let's see. Just going through the chat, y'all. Just be patient with us.
Sister, somebody said you had them in tears. God give you strength to carry on.
Mhm.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank
Stephanie
you,
said,
Stephanie Murray. Oh Lord, thank you.
transparent doesn't mean see through people. Why would you give it all up to the world? Why would the world expect it? Baffling. This family is trying to build a case. Please think.
Yes,
Yes.
Stephanie definitely have been holding y'all down.
Okay. Stephanie again made a comment. She said, "Bravo to you all for even having perseverance and even take time to do this. This is a lot."
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate the family more than we can even put in words. We definitely appreciate the family. You all did not have to show up, but you did. Again, I can't imagine the grief that everybody is going through. Everybody on the panel, all of his family, every person that loved and cared about him. Just from his videos because that's all we have to go on. And then what you all tell us. But just based on the conversations that we've had with the family, based on these lives, based on the videos that are left on social media, Tyrone seemed like he was just an amazing soul. So we can't even imagine the loss that you all are experiencing. But like I said earlier in the conversation, we are here to support you all through this loss and through this grief. And whatever you need from us, just let us know. Um, in regards to the channel, we are not missing, we are not absent, we are working. We are working and we'll continue to work until we get justice for Tyrone
I
and
see
justice for his
someone
family.
did ask. I told y'all certain questions I'm not going to answer because I just don't feel like I have to and I won't. But
Mhm.
I did want to answer this one. It says, "Do y'all believe the case will get reopened, and what is the PI's involvement in the case?" So I'm very hopeful that this case will be reopened. There are so many inconsistencies. There are so many failures. There are so many um, direct contradictions, even down to their policy that was provided by them. The records clearly reflect that they did not follow their own policies. And so, just based off what we already have, I am convinced that it's a high probability the case will be reopened. But even more so than that, the things that we don't have, the things that they continue to refuse us or delay. I'm not even going to say refuse because they're not refusing, they're delaying it, which I feel is intentional. Um, I feel as if those things are going to reveal even more about this case. So I want Gainesville Police Department and I want the world to know that we're not going anywhere. We're not laying down. We are not giving up. We are not stopping. I've said that and I will continue to say that. Tyrone Davis Jr. meant so much to not just us, but to the world that we're not going to give up until we've done everything we can and turned over every stone we can. So, again, we're not saying falsify evidence. We're not saying create a case. We're not saying make up what happened. We're saying give us the truth, whatever that truth looks like. And so if Gainesville Police Department reopens this case and they're able to come and say, listen, 100%, this is what happened to him. This is how we know this is the proof. We'll take that. And that's if it's an accident or if it's a murder, whatever it is, we'll accept it. Even if they go through and they say, you know what, we've actually done a thorough investigation. These are the things that we've done. These are the steps that we've taken, and we don't know what happened. We'll have to accept that. But what we're not going to accept is what we have right now: investigative failures across the board, and a case that was closed with no real supporting evidence that supports what GPD used to close that case. We're not taking that. In reference to the PI, he is continuously actively working. The individuals on this team have met and spoken with the PI about some of the work they've done. Our activist has also spoken with the PI about some of the work that they've done. I stated previously, and I will state again, that once we get to closure in the work that they're doing for us, I will definitely share their information because they are amazing at the work that they do. Um, I appreciate all of that work, especially considering the firearm that GPD now has in custody. They helped to locate it. That's why GPD had to subpoena to get the firearm after the case was closed because GPD wasn't looking for it, but the PI was able to find it. So I know social medias keep saying, "Oh, there is no PI." Well, I didn't find the gun, so yeah,
I also want to just piggyback off of who Tyrone was on camera, who you guys seen him as on camera. He was 10 times better in person. And I just want to leave you guys with he was happy. He was not suicidal. He would not, you know, just jump or walk out of a car to end his life. And if that does not matter to anyone, I don't know what will.
yeah, I agree.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank y'all. Anybody else have anything to say before we conclude?
I definitely appreciate you guys for hosting this. It was, I think, very much needed, and it definitely brought some light to the case. And I hope everyone continues to follow the truth and the facts of the case. And um, I just pray it's some type of justice to be served. That's all.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I have one more thing I did want to say because I do see a comment um, about was the family trying to silence content creators, and I want to address this
Oh,
question
I
not
got
because
you.
it's not offensive at all. I don't take
Oh,
that question
okay.
offensive.
I was trying to remove it before
Oh
you
no,
saw it.
no, you're fine. It's not
Okay.
offensive, and I actually want to address that question because I want to be clear. First of all, the statement that was made as far as the family trying to silence anyone is not accurate because the family has not contacted anyone. I personally contacted Gainesville Police Department, and my intention was never to silence content creators or anyone else for that matter. Erica can't even attest. I even explained to her, listen, I'm more than willing to share the evidence that I have with her and the family. So what I asked for Gainesville Police Department, it was never to block content creators or anyone from getting information that's publicly accessible, because I'm very familiar with what is publicly accessible in the state of Florida based on their statutes. What I asked the Gainesville Police Department is, considering that the family put in a request back in February for evidence, don't send us bits and pieces of evidence and then give social media influences additional evidence that you did not provide to the family, which to me seems like it was done intentionally to stir confusion. Fill our request completely so that at least when these content creators and social media influencers choose to put these things out there, I'm able to prepare our families for what is to come. Because again, this is a real person, and we are real people who have really experienced this loss. And so for my family to wake up and be blindsided by pictures of social media of Tyrone online is not only unfair, it's inconsiderate. When had GPD provided me those photos, I would have known that they were a part of their records and that they would have been released to the public. I had the photos, but I didn't get them from GPD. I got them directly from the individual who took them. And so I didn't even know that GPD had those photos in their records. And so when the content creators were receiving those photos, I wasn't aware until my family woke up. And again, these are photos that I had that I didn't share with my family to protect some of them. So his dad had not seen those photos because I knew that it was a lot for me as a cousin. So I can only imagine what it would have been like for his dad to see him like that. So I personally protected my family from those photos on my end. So to have them not only be exposed to them, but be exposed to them with no prior warning by social media influencers was offensive. And it wasn't offensive that they were trying to put them out there, because at the end of the day, they're doing what they do. They're social media content creators. They were creating content. I don't have a problem with them creating content. I have a problem with how GPD chose to share that content and not consider the family in doing so. So that's why I wanted to address that comment, because it wasn't a family situation. It was me. And my request was not for GPD not to give evidence. It was for GPD to do so properly, to handle us appropriately, and to just be correct. Because even it's not like they hadn't filled my request. They had filled parts of my request. They had given me pieces of the evidence. So the same way you turned around and gave that information to the social media influencers, you could have gave it to me when you gave me everything else, and I would have known to protect my family and to let them know that that was coming.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my sound went out for a second. I'm sorry. Okay. Anybody else want to share anything or have anything else to add?
I do, Natalie. Thank you for clarifying that. But I just want to piggyback off of Erica. Um, Everybody see Tyrone from social media, YouTube videos, but Tyrone was love. He was light. Like if you're having a bad day, like he's gonna cheer you up immediately. So like I just want everybody to remember that he was like your favorite cousin in every single family. That's who he was. Your favorite brother in every single family. Your favorite uncle in every single family. All the kids loved him. Everybody loved him. So when you think about your favorite person in your family, just think about Tyrone Davis. And that's who we lost. Just think about your favorite person in your family. That's who we lost. So just think about that. And we appreciate all the support. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
We appreciate you all too. Yeah, we definitely appreciate you all too, and you always have a platform. You all always have a platform. If you ever need to come on and just get it all out, I mean, we're always available to you. And like I said, we'll continue as the case, as we get more information from GPD, and prayerfully, that information starts to trickle in more and more consistently, so we can try to figure out what happened, because things still don't add up. Stories are still too inconsistent to try to make an assumption about what happened. We need more evidence. We need surveillance. We need all those things. So as we start to get more evidence, we'll be able to come back and have more lives and provide updates. And again, this is always a platform for the family. This is a safe space. This is a non-judgmental space, and this is a space that you all will always be protected in. So, like I said, Natalie has our information. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, anything that you'd like to address publicly or privately, we are available to you. We are available to y'all. Um, MG, do you want to add anything?
No, you said
Now
it
you
all.
said it all.
It's an echo. Okay. Yes, if the family would like to reach the team, Natalie have her information. It could be offline information that you want us to give you more details about. But Ava mainly mentioned everything. Yes.
All right. So if nobody has anything else to add, we will go ahead and close this out tonight. I know it's getting a little bit late. We want to say before we do close it out, we appreciate the family. We appreciate the chat for being respectful. We do appreciate everybody who is respectfully keeping this case in the public eye. Don't stop saying Tyrone's name. Do not stop saying his name. Justice
Tyrone
is
Davis
coming.
Jr.
That's right. Say his name. I mean, because the more we say it, the more we share respectful, responsible information, the closer we get to justice for Tyrone and justice for this family. So we will be praying for y'all. We are believing God for justice, and we are believing God for this to come to a respectful end.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes. No, thank
Yes,
y'all
ma'am.
for coming in and
Thank
sharing.
y'all. You all have a good night,
Thank
and
you.
thank
You
you,
too.
live.
You as well. Thank
All
you.
righty.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Until next
Bye.
time. God
Bye.
bless.
Until next time.